Why don't we have all of our children come around in front here and sit on the floor in front of the altar? Come on, guys, don't be afraid. Good. Even on this side, too. Good. See, I told you there were more than we looked like. You can't see them among the grown-ups, but when they come out on their own, wow, look at how many of you there are. Come and sit down on the floor. Right. Make yourselves comfortable. Cool. Okay, go. Have a seat. And still more. And they keep coming from every corner. Isn't that wonderful? Let's move over a little bit here so that the people in the back can get close up too. So you guys over here, move over. Scoot over a little bit so the ones in the back can squeeze in. So everybody feels part of it. Good. All right. And our sparkly little girl. We got to let our sparkly one in. All right. And you know what? Since you're all the way down there and I'm all the way up here, how about if I sit down with you? Is that okay? Good. I'm glad you find that okay. Well, good morning, boys and girls.
Good morning, Father.
Oh, you could do better than that. Let's try that again. Good morning, boys and girls.
Good morning, Father.
Good. Okay. That was a long gospel reading we heard, wasn't it? Yeah, there's a lot in there. And when I looked at the gospel to say, gee, there's so much that Jesus gives us here, what am I going to talk about? I said, well, I can't talk about everything Jesus says there because we'd be here probably for about 3 days, okay, if we tried to talk about everything, all those important points Jesus says there. So I looked at it and I picked out one. Just one thing that I said probably all of us, children and grown-ups, can relate to and we can learn a lesson from Jesus on. And that is when he says, anyone who grows angry with his brother will be liable to judgment. So anger, I'd like to talk this morning just about anger. Have you ever been angry?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. I've been angry too, okay. Has anybody ever gotten, have you ever gotten somebody else angry?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Oh, you're shaking your heads like it. You know it, Father. Okay, well.
I definitely don't.
You okay, well, you can tell me in confession privately if you did, okay? But you know what? Whether we get angry at someone else or somebody else gets angry at us, it stinks, doesn't it? Nobody likes being angry, and nobody likes having other people angry at us. So we might wonder, well, why does God allow us to get angry if it hurts so much? Well, the reason is this. If Adam and Eve didn't commit original sin, there would be no need for anger because we'd be in a perfect world. But unfortunately, original sin took place, and there's a lot of bad things in the world, and sometimes people say and do bad things that hurt us, and sometimes just natural disasters happen, like the earthquake that just took place in Turkey and Syria that we're going to take money for today if people want to help them. They didn't do anything wrong. It was just an earthquake. Okay? And bad things sometimes happen. And sometimes people do things that are wrong. And anger is sometimes the right way to respond to it. It's not always wrong to be angry. Jesus got angry. But we have to get angry at the things that we should get angry at. For example, imagine you're in school and you see a bunch of older kids picking on a little kid, beating the kid up and punching him and everything like that. Wouldn't you get angry?
Yes.
Yes. You'd say, hey, stop it. We're supposed to get angry when we see somebody doing something wrong. In fact, that's supposed to make us want to maybe go and stop and say, hey, cut it out. Leave that kid alone. Imagine if we looked at it and walked past and said, oh, how about that? Look at that. And just didn't even care about it. Right? There'd be something wrong with us, right? If we didn't feel bad about it. So there are times when it's okay to be angry. Unfortunately, sometimes we're angry when we shouldn't get angry. And about things that maybe in other certain times we would be okay with, but that day just made us get angry. That's what Jesus is talking about. Making sure that if we're angry, there's a good reason for us to be angry, and then get over it right away. Dismiss it and move on with peace. And not hold on to it, because sometimes grown-ups especially can hold on to something that makes us angry, and we don't get rid of it, we don't deal with it, and it turns us into angry people. And if you ever are around people who just spend their whole lives angry at everyone and everything, they're not much fun to be around, are they? No, no, certainly not. And so we want to make sure that doesn't happen to us. When I was away on vacation last week, I went to the movies and saw a movie called A Man Called Otto. And it's a movie for grown-ups. It's not something that I think you children would appreciate. But your moms and dads probably could look at that story and say, yeah, they've seen things like that. It's a story of a man who was a good man, but had some bad things happen to him in his life. And he didn't deal with it. Whatever didn't happen, he didn't make peace with it. And it turned him into a bitter old man that just was angry at everyone and everything. And it even kept him from enjoying all the beautiful things in his life. And part of the storyline is people trying to show him all the wonderful things around him that because he was angry, he couldn't see. And we don't want to end up growing up like that, being angry people because of everything in the world. So Jesus wants us to deal with what gets us angry now, especially as children. If we can start having a way to deal with things that get us angry, then maybe we'll be able to deal with them and still be happy people and grow up being happy adults that people will love. So what do? Well, first of all, if somebody says or does something to make you angry, okay, that's okay. Somebody says something that insults you. You're in school and somebody calls you a bad name or something like that, makes fun of you. That's what Jesus is talking about, anybody who says angry things to somebody else, okay? It's wrong for someone to say that. Well, if it's somebody that's close enough to us that you can, like, maybe a brother or sister or somebody like that, and you might say, it's okay to go to them and say, what you said hurt my feelings. I was really hurt by that. And hopefully they'll say, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said that. Will you forgive me? And we say yes. Okay? Then we can put it in the past. All right. We got angry that somebody said something that hurt us. We told them, and now we can move on and forget about it. Sometimes maybe people are not going to be the ones that we're going to be able to tell, like school bullies. Sometimes if you see somebody picking on someone and he says, stop, leave me alone, cut it out, don't do that, don't say that. What does the bully do? More. That's exactly what the bully wants to do. He wants to get you upset. So telling them, you're hurting my feelings, stop, hurt that, that's not going to make things better. In fact, if anything, it only makes things worse. So in those moments, we can't say anything to the person, but later, bring it to Jesus and pray about it and say, Lord, that person was really hurting my feelings, and I know telling them is only going to make it worse, but help them know that I would forgive them if they ever asked me to be forgiven. And that's what I do when there's somebody that maybe I know is never going to sit down and listen to me say, hey, you know what, you hurt my feelings. So bring it to Jesus, and he'll help us deal with it. Now, it's not always easy, and certainly if it's serious enough in school where you tell a teacher or somebody and say, hey, especially if somebody, not only if they're physically hurting you, but saying bad words about you or calling you names, you tell somebody, because that shouldn't be allowed to happen. And sometimes it's happening and the teachers just don't know it. So let them know. Okay? I'm not talking about a silly one little thing somebody says here or there, but somebody who's really being a bully. We don't want to see that happen at all, right? And we want to protect each other. If you see somebody else being bullied, then right away we should be angry and say, hey, I'm going to help this person. I'll let the teacher know that somebody's being bullied. So those are times when we're supposed to be angry at something. But then there are other times that we get angry, and deep down we know we really shouldn't be angry. Maybe we're all stressed out, whatever it may be. You're playing a video game, and your joystick or your controller is just not working right. And you push it to try to make the figure do what you want it to do, and the button is not working. And you get angry, come on, you stupid game, what are you doing? And you start pushing and pushing, and finally you get mad, you darn thing, and you throw it and break it. Okay? Well, oh yeah, it seems like that's happened, hasn't it? Well, you just broke the controller, and we realized we were just getting frustrated, and maybe there would have been a better way to deal with that than getting angry at just a controller, right? Or maybe it's someone. You're sitting there playing video games, and there's nothing wrong with the controller, but your mom sees you, and it's after school, and it says, did you do your homework? Did you study for your test? Not yet, Mom, but I'll do it later. And Mom says, you know the rules. You study first, and you do your homework, and then when that's finished, then you can play the video games. And you get annoyed, and you grumble, okay? Because you want to continue playing your game. Now, deep down, you know that Mom is right, that it's more important to study and to do our homework, because imagine if you don't study for a test and you fail the test, and the teacher says, what happened? You failed this test. Oh, I know I failed the test, but I got 10 more levels done in my video game. Well, that's not going to do too well for you, is it? Of course not. So, Mom is right, even if she's telling you something you don't really want to hear. I know Mom's right, I should do my homework first and play my game later. And so that's sometimes how we just have to deal with it, Okay? Then there's other times. Moms and dads will know that even the most patient people, if you're driving in the car, you can get angry at people very quickly, especially if you're late, rushing someplace, and there's somebody ahead of you is driving very slowly, and you say, I'm going to be late. And you might hear moms and dads being angry and everything, and yelling at the person ahead, come on, speed up, speed up. You think I have all day here? Rah, 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 all that stuff, right? Well, maybe we can politely say to mom and dad, it's not going to get us where we're going any faster by being angry at those people ahead of us. Instead of anything, it might make you more agitated, and you might not drive safely, and we could get into an accident. So take a deep breath, mom and dad, and calm down, and don't get angry at that person, and maybe next time we'll leave a little bit earlier so we're not in a rush. Then sometimes there are things you have to take care of, right? Like you have a little brother or sister who always seems to be getting into your things, right? And you keep telling them, stop getting into my stuff. Don't go in my room. Don't touch my things. And mom has told them that, but one day you go in and there's your little sister getting into all of the stuff in your room. So what do you end up doing? Ma, she did it again. She's in all my things. Mom, she's not listening. And if mom is annoyed, she'll say, leave me alone. I got other things to worry about. You take care of it on your own. And everybody's yelling and everybody's getting angry. And does it help anything? No, not at all. So, if you can go to mom quietly and say, Mom, I'm afraid Missy's into my things again, and then hopefully mom will quietly call Missy over and say, Missy, didn't I tell you not to go into your brother or sister's things? Yes, then why are you doing it? I don't know. Okay, stop doing it. And if you're the little one going into your older brothers and sisters' things, and they get angry at you, well, you don't want to cause that, to make them angry with you. Okay? Whenever something happens, even sad things, sometimes, somebody we love is sick, or something happens, and we feel bad about it, okay? Bring it to Jesus, knowing that God will heal us. God wants to take the anger away. He doesn't like us living in anger. So, if something bad happens, bring it to him and say, Jesus, I'm sad right now. I'm sad because my grandma is ill. I'm sad because this happened or that happened. And you'll feel Jesus comforting you, saying, that's okay. I'm taking care of your grandmother. I'm taking care of your friend who is ill. Or somebody dies and the Lord calls them home and says, okay, I took them home with me. No, they won't be with you on earth anymore, but now they're with me in heaven. And they're with me every day. So don't be sad for them because they're with me. So when bad things happen, bring them to Jesus and he'll heal them so we don't end up growing up to become angry people, mad because somebody died that we loved, okay, which happens to everybody. And then the little things that we do, certainly we want to make sure we're not doing anything to make anyone else angry. And if we do, and we realize it, go to them and apologize. And hopefully they'll say, okay, I forgive you. But suppose they say, no, I'm never going to forgive you. I'll never forget what you did to me. Well, you know what? You can go to Jesus and say, well, Jesus, I tried to do what's right. I realized I said or did something wrong. I went to that person. I apologized, but they wouldn't forgive me. But help them to get over their anger and not hold on to it all the time. And if ever the day comes that they realize, all right, they should have forgiven me, then help them know that I have forgiven them already for not forgiving me. This way we have peace. And pray that that person will not spend the rest of their life angry, because it doesn't hurt us. It hurts them, right? They're the ones who are going to live in the anger for a long, long time, right? And maybe make them into bitter, angry people. Somebody once said that refusing to forgive somebody else who harms us or holding on to anger is like us drinking poison and waiting for the other person to get sick from it. Does that make any sense? No one else is going to get sick from something that we drink. So, anger, not forgiving people, is like taking poison into us. It hurts us. It doesn't help us. So, yeah, things are going to get us angry. When they do, bring them to Jesus and ask him to help you to get rid of the anger as quickly as possible. This way it's over and done, and we can get back to the happy things that we enjoy. Sound like a good plan?
Yes.
All right, good. So remember, Jesus loves you, and he doesn't want you to be angry all the time. So if it's a reason to get angry, then do it, but then get over it. And don't hold on to it, because that just makes us become bitter, mad, angry people. And we don't want to be that way. Jesus wants us to live in joy. He wants us to live in his love. Let him take all that anger away so that we can enjoy all the happy things in life. And after Mass today, we have some other happy things we have for you, which I'm going to tell you about at the end of Mass. Okay? Sound good? Good. You can go back to your moms and dads now. All right.